Hi, all, and welcome to the next episode of Under the Skin. I am extremely privileged to welcome our next guest to the show. He's taken over 280 international wickets, almost 1,000 county wickets, played for Leicestershire and Yorkshire, and is an Ashes legend, Matthew Hoggard.
Hello, how are we?
I'm good, thank you, mate. How are you doing?
Yeah, can't grumble, can't grumble.
Yeah, no, how have you found, obviously, lockdown at the minute, but how's tricks with you?
Yeah, as I was going to say, it's getting a little bit tiresome, tiresome. It's getting on my tits, to be fair. In lockdown, it's testing, but it's testing for everybody. Hopefully, we can see a light at the end of the tunnel come 2022.
Yeah, no, I mean, just any kind of holiday right now would be good. But, to be fair, just hoping cricket season starts on time would be good.
Yeah, I've got to say, it doesn't even have to be a holiday. It just needs to be back to normality, getting out and doing things that are just normal and not having to turn around and say, shh, I forgot my mask again, so I need to go get my mask. And we're not allowed to go do it. You're not allowed to go in. Yeah, it's just get back to normality would be nice. The change is as good as a break. But yeah, it will get there, won't we?
Yeah, no, fingers crossed it will be sooner rather than later. Hoggy, obviously, it's absolutely brilliant to have you on this. And we are going to talk about your amazing career shortly. But what most people don't realize is that you've actually played a whole season of indoor cricket, I believe, in South Africa. So, when was this? And, how was that experience for you?
So again, I went over most probably 18. And I played in Johannesburg for Randburg Pirates. Greenside Pirates, actually. Why am I saying Randburg? Greenside Pirates. And in the evenings, there was an action league. There was action basketball, action netball, action cricket, and I played netball and cricket, which was fantastic. But yeah, it was something fun and entertaining to do on an evening.
Cool. And what about that particular, obviously, action cricket? I'm sure the netball had its own personal experiences, which are great. I mean, they do a lot of mixed netball, I think, over there. So
yeah, they do, yeah.
That would have been a few different experiences as a whole. But in terms of the cricket, what about the sport did you enjoy about it?
Again, playing cricket anyway was brilliant. In the showers, in the changing rooms, in the streets. But to get into a full-size court where you're guaranteed to bat for 4 overs and they're just losing runs, and to learn how to manipulate the ball into different gaps and knowing when to run, when not to run, tactics about how best to go around building the score up, not having to wear pads because that's that gets in the way, but being able to give people bruises because although it's a yellow ball and it's not as hard as a cricket ball or as heavy as a cricket ball, it still swings and it still hurts when it hits. So you still get that satisfaction when you hit somebody and you hurt them. And it's all that sort of scenarios. And to learn how to control the ball as well, because it's lighter. And you start with it. Well, we used to start with a new ball every game. It used to hoop around corners. So there was a whole lot of skill condensed into a short format of the game. And it was very social and interactive.
Yeah, no, I mean, well said. I mean, it actually leads me really nicely onto the next thing, which is, you were somebody who was exceptional with the red ball. I mean, you swung it both ways, and that's not easy. Not everyone can do that. But, in terms of the yellow ball, I don't think I'd have liked to have faced you, or many people would have. But in terms of playing with the yellow ball, how can that help youngsters, learn to swing it, basically?
Massively. I mean, I used to start it that far outside leg stump, and it used to miss off stump.
Yeah.
It used to hoop around the corners, and again, it was difficult for the wicket keepers. So you don't get as long a run up, so you have to be very tight with your action. You have to get your action completely right in a short space of time. So you have to be balanced when you bowl it. You have to get your wrist behind it. So it also condenses the action into such a small bundle. Even though it is fun and entertaining, you still have to nail your disciplines to get the best out of it.
Yeah, no, spot on, mate. And obviously, you've had that experience, and you can tell you've had that experience just from the way you talk about the game. So, no, that's absolutely fantastic. And one of the things is, yeah, it's just such a hard ball to control to get it right. So, I mean, when it is brand new, obviously, but the kids we found, they love playing with the new ones because they can get it to swing, especially spinners as well. How much it turns and bounce, the kids absolutely love it. It is handy, obviously, it is handy as a batsman as well, learning to play against swing and movement.
Yeah,
So
massively. And then you've got to come up with your own tactics as well, right? Then it's swinging or it's spinning or it's one of the hardest balls I used to play. Used to nearly hit the roof before it landed. And then it was
yes,
so slow and it bounced up to your head. So you then have to work out, right, what shot on earth can I play to this? A, not to get out, B, to score. So some of the tactics weren't necessarily cricket tactics, but they were tactics of, do you know what is my game plan? What shot selection should I be changing? Where is it the easiest to score runs? And what do I need to supposed to score? Right, it's swinging away, so I'm going to take the leg side. I'm going to hit it into this gap here. Where am I going to try and manipulate the fit? And there's so many things that you take out of action cricket that without realizing that you're doing it.
yeah, no, I agree, 100%. Um, yeah, I can't encourage kids enough just to play it in the winter. I mean, we're obviously an organisation which is just trying to get more people playing it. In the non-cricketing times, there's enough cricket in the summer for everyone. Obviously not last season, but generally there is. And what we're trying to do is fill those 6 months in the winter where people, well, between September and January there isn't anything at all really, and then January and March they just go for nets. But actually playing cricket, especially at a young age, just keeping that match play and like you said, all those things that are relatable, and then you can hit the ground running kind of in April when you get out there. So I mean that's our aim, certainly.
Yeah. And the great thing is it does replicate bowling. You still have to bowl, and you still have to bowl, as I said, with the right action in a shorter run up. And you still have to play some decent cricket shots and get the tactical awareness. But that is the beauty of it. It's not somebody standing in the middle of the hallway with the kids underarming the ball to the batsman and playing tib and run. It is an actual game of cricket, and it is there's so many different tactics to employ. It is a brilliant tactical game, as well as getting your technique right.
Yeah, no, spot on, mate. A little bit about you now, I guess. It would be, our viewers, I'm sure would like to know a bit about you and your career. I quite like this question because I'm sure there's an interesting answer. But who was your favourite batter to get out when you played international cricket, and why?
Everyone. Yeah, take 10 wickets, you can get off the park and watch your batters. So I enjoyed getting every international wicket. But anybody that you look at their opposition, you say, do you know what, they're one of their key batters. But again, when you get to international cricket, a lot of them are key batters. So the likes of Lara, Tendulkar, Dravid. You then go to Australia and you'll look at Ricky Ponting, opening Hayden and Langer. You need to break their partnership before you get them in. You go to the likes of Jack Callis in South Africa. So there's so many different players that you look at, they're unscoring, but in international cricket, there's normally 6 of them. So,
Yeah,
and then look at Ashwin. What did he come in at 8 today?
Yeah.
And scored 100. So I remember playing it. A game, it was Agarka at Lords scored 100. And so again, every batter is important. So although you do prize every wicket, I wouldn't say that I didn't prize them as highly as each other, but to get a Courtney Walsh out rather than a Jack Callis out it's a different feeling. But 10 wickets are required.
Yeah, no, I'm sure. And yeah, those Ashes battles as the batsmen that you played against, obviously, like you're saying, Hayden, Langer, Ponting, and Clark, etc. So there's an incredible amount of batting in those lineups.
Sri Lanka, you get Kumar Sangakkara, you get Mahela Jayawardene, you go to Imzaman ul Haq, you go into Mohammed Yusuf. There's Yusuf Khan. There's so many different batsmen from every country. And every era has their battles, and that is part of an opening bowler to get early wickets. So
Yeah.
my battles were normally the top order rather than the lower order.
No, spot on. I mean, I'm sure you get this all the time now, but 2005. So, I mean, that for me, and I remember watching it. We stopped a county game to watch, the last Test match, right at the end. But we 2005 was one of those things that made me fall in love with cricket. Watching that series, probably one of the best series ever to have been played.
You're making me feel old now.
Sorry, mate.
You're making me feel old now.
Yeah, no, it was just fantastic. The whole thing about that whole tour was absolutely incredible. But I have two questions about it. I'm sure you might get this a lot. But one's more about atmosphere, one's more about obviously being out there. But first question is, day one at Lords. You're there, you're opening the bowling with Steve Harmison. What was the atmosphere like on that day?
Oh, it was. Normally, when you go to Lords, Lords is a special place for non-cricket lovers or for cricket lovers. Even when the ground's empty, it stands the hair on the back of your neck up. So to be able to play a massive series like the Ashes first Test match, so you normally walk through the long room, and the MCC members normally give you a nice little polite round of applause when you go through the long room and out into the crowd. But the first day we went out there, they were standing up, they were shouting, they were cheering, and this is the long room. You're thinking, this is not appropriate for the long room. What on earth are you doing? So that just set the scene. And when we walked out onto the pitch, it was electrifying. Not an empty seat in the house, everybody up for the battle. Jerusalem being sung. It was very, very, very high wire, high live, and electric, and you don't normally get that at Lord. You normally get a gentle hum. This time it was a massive roar. So yeah, it was an amazing feel.
Yeah, and obviously the two Aussies getting hit early on in that game. I think it was Langer and Ponting, and I think even Hayden got hit on the head as well. So all three got hit, and then obviously you cleaned Hayden up through the gate. Was it in that innings?
Yeah. So the first wicket, and we bowled them out for less than 200. You bowl side out for less than 200 on a good batting track at Lords, you're in with a chance of winning the game. So I think that was the most pleasing thing that we did. We hit the Australians hard, as you said. We hit Ponting, Hayden, Langer, and when I say we, it was Steve. He hit them hard, but to take 20 wickets for less than 200 runs put us in with a great chance, and just proved to the bowling attack that we can take 20 wickets to win a game of cricket.
Yeah, no, absolutely fantastic. And the next one actually isn't related to bowling, but again, I'm sure you've had it a lot. But talk us through, that feeling of facing Brett Lee and Shane Warne when you were chasing the last few runs at Trent Bridge.
Yeah, I get it a lot from Ernie as well. He says, how long did you play cricket for, Daddy? Yeah, for maybe 15, 20 years, I went. And they always talk about one shot. Just one shot. You played for 20 years and people remember you for one shot. I'm thinking, he's right. The waiting to bat was the hardest bit, because you were watching somebody else, and watching to me is the nerve-wracking thing. So when I went out to bat, it was like everything calmed down, and it was, it's in my hands. So it's everything calmed down. This is a little bit easier because it's now down to me. Met up with Ashley Giles. You all right? He said no. Giles said to me, Brett Lee's bowling really, really fast, and Shane Warne's turning it both ways. So my nerves came back fairly quickly, but he came up with a fantastic, cunning plan. He said, I tell you what, Shane Warne's really tricky to play, so I'm going to stay down his end. And you can have, I went, yeah, that's right. So I'll have the 90-mile-an-hour ball, and you have the spinner. Sounds good, Ash. And again, because I was a tail ender, Brett Lee was either trying to kill me or bowl me Yorkers. He didn't bowl me any sort of length balls and just try to get me out like a normal batter. He was either trying to York me or knock my head off. And he got one of the Yorkers wrong, and he bowled me a full toss. And apparently I've hit it through the covers. I've got plinked it through the covers. I had my eyes shut at the time. So I still don't know. But if it hadn't been for the 5,000 fans at the Radcliffe Road stand, sucking the ball to the boundary, it never got there. But yeah, it was as I say, once you are in the middle and you are now tasked with surviving because you've got a bowler bowling at 90 plus mile an hour at you, it takes sort of like the runs away from it. You know, it's sort of like personal survival mode, and because you can then concentrate on that ball, it's so much easier than watching the game because
Yeah.
you're actually in the action and you're caught up in it.
Yeah, and obviously we saw the reactions of the changing room when that was happening. Michael Vaughan was, losing his hair, I think,
Yeah, well, he nearly fell off the balcony when I hit that 4 through the covers because he's
Yeah.
played cricket with me for 15 years and never see me hit a cover drive once.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. I'm the same. I hate watching. I'd much rather be out there batting than watching, the lads chase and stuff. But yeah, no, I mean, what a fantastic way to win, that game and everything else. I mean, what we've looked at there is two different parts of that series, and I think were essentially two bits of pressure, high pressure. One is the crowd on the first day and expectations of that crowd, the way they were acting, and the second thing is obviously being in a scenario where you have to get the team over the line against two of the best bowlers that I've ever played cricket. So two high pressure environments. So if I said to you there was a way for young players to learn high pressure early on in their when they're training and stuff, would you be supportive of that?
Yeah, massively. I mean, what is pressure? Can you show me? Can you touch it? Or is it just the mindset? And most of it is a mindset. And the way that we went around it is set our processes up. So we had processes. So, right, what are we doing in this here and now? Forget about the outcome because the outcome is going to look after itself, and just go through them little nuances and say, right then, what do I do to face Brett Lee? Well, then I know that I don't need massive foot movement because he's rapid. I don't need a big backlift because the time the ball gets to me, if I have a big backlift, then that Yorker is going to get through. And you just look after them teeny weeny little things that you train the brain, you do the hard yards, you know what you are supposed to be doing. And if you can think clearly and just do the processes, then the outcome looks after itself. And then that pressure isn't there anymore. You're just concentrating on what you can actually do, and you can't affect other things. So you say look after the controllables. You can't control what Brett Lee's going to bowl, but you can control how you react and set up, and you react to that ball. You can't control what the ball's going to do, how the crowd's reacting, whatever. You can't control the weather, you can't control the umpire. All you can control is your bit of the pie. And if you are in control and you know what your bit of the pie looks like and the processes that you go through to get you to the outcome, then that is the easiest bit to do, because you're just doing the processes. And then this big outcome that if you just sit down here and look at the outcome thinking that's a massive mile away, I need 12 runs. Now 12 runs doesn't seem a lot. But when you sat in the middle and you're saying, right, then you've got Brett Lee and Shane Warne bowling it, how the freak are we scoring 12 runs? Yeah. Well, let's just look after this ball, shall we? And just stay in. Oh, that's an inside edge. I've gone for 2. Well, I now only need 10 runs. Well, how do I score 10 runs? Well, let's stay in this ball. I blocked that one. I'm still in. And you can shift the momentum and shift the pressure back onto the bowling side, because they know that they need 3 wickets and they've only got 10 runs to play with. So it's all about your mind set rather than pressure as a whole. So if you can break it down into little processes and little tangible things that you can actually tick off and say, right, then I've done this, done that, then the outcome looks after itself.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely brilliant, and thank you for that insight. Yeah, it's said really nicely. Last one about your career, I guess, is the best moment. What is your best moment that you can remember? I know there's so many, but
yeah, I think most probably Johannesburg performance in the fourth Test match. Or was it 7? I can't remember which.
Took 7 for, yeah, 7
for. Yeah, I got 7 for. So I got 12 in the game. So I got 5 from the first innings, 7 in the second, and we won that game in Johannesburg in 2 sessions, and that put us 2-1 up in the series, and that ultimately won the series for England. And to take 7 wickets in that innings, and to get Jack, and you say which batters do you relish and wickets? I got Jack Callis first ball. it pitched on and around off stump, so he had to play it. He played the amazing forward defensive, didn't push it, didn't go away from his body, and he took the outside edge. And he thought, you know what, that is an amazing wicket to get a first ball. And the batsman didn't do too much wrong. Normally, the batsman has to make a mistake before you get that wicket. But I don't think Jack made any mistakes that ball. And it was just a massive wicket and a huge boost to us. To, you know what, we've got rid of their best batter first ball and give us that confidence to go on and win the test.
No, brilliant. And I mean, 280 international wickets, winning the Ashes, winning the T20 with Leicestershire. There's so many different things that you could have had. So no, that's brilliant. And then obviously the hat trick as well. West Indies,
yeah, I was going to say there's when you play cricket for so long, when you're an old barstool, you get some highs.
Yeah, no, brilliant. And if you were to give any juniors any advice, young quick bowlers wanting to make it as a professional and then potentially play for international cricket or even international indoor cricket, what would that advice be?
I would say take responsibility for your own game. Don't rely on the coaches. Don't say I didn't do this, I didn't get to do that. Well, I didn't get to face as many balls, or I didn't bowl as many balls as I want to do. Well, go out and do that. And when you take ownership, don't practice until you get it right. Practice until you don't get it wrong. Because there's a difference between, right, I'm going to bowl a slower ball. I've got that right. Right, I'm going to park that now, and I'm going to now practice my Yorker. Well, if you only get the slow ball right once every 10 balls, that means 10 times you're not going to hit your straps. But if you can nail that slow ball, or you can nail that Yorker, and you get into that pressure situation again, we'll go back to that pressure. Right, what is it that I do to bowl a Yorker? They need 4 off the or 6 off the last ball, 4 off the last ball. Right, I need to nail my Yorker. What is it that I do to nail that Yorker? And you can go through your processes then. And if you nail 9 times out of 10 your Yorker in practice, when you are under that pressure, you can then just go back to your processes and give you a good chance to nail that Yorker and win the game.
Yeah, no, brilliant. Thank you very much. Interesting. We touched on pressure again. I mean, what I was going to say earlier is that the indoor game, as you know, is it just difference between that and outdoor is you get more pressure moments. There's each skin, each pair, you might have a pressure moment at the very end. At the very end of the game, there's pressure. So there's a few things there where the game of indoor certainly we think can help youngsters get used to playing in those scenarios where they are constantly at it, and doesn't matter if they fail first time, there's still more chances that they can learn again from that experience. And whereas outdoor, how often do we have that pressure moment as an individual? It might happen once a season, twice a season, but certainly indoor there's almost a chance where that happens at each skin, every game. So
and it intensifies, doesn't it? Because it's such a short game, it intensifies, but also brings up your match awareness. If you go in and say, we only need 6 runs to win in this skin. Now we don't need to run. We just need to hit the net. Now, if we just hit the net and don't run, then we're all right. We're going to win that game. And if we don't hit it in the air, but the next time you go in as that skin, you might need 10 runs and over or 15 runs and over. So then you've got to take your chances. So that match awareness and that skill set of being able to look at the game, what is required of us to win that game for the team, or what is best for the team at the moment. And that was going to change every time you go to the crease. So that is a fantastic awareness that you get, match awareness. And if we don't get out, we win the game. And you go out and try and hit 6s, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But if you go out and say, you need 12 and over, you can get the license to go out and hit it. So it's match awareness and tactics is brings a heightened in indoor as well.
Brilliant. And just to close the conversation, I guess really amazing career. You've got your own lad now, he's playing cricket himself, but is there any projects that you're currently running? I know you're coaching with the Loughborough Lightning women's setup, is that right?
We used to until it got set into different things. I'm now running a grill school at Rutland, so I'm teaching people how to barbecue properly up at Rutland Water Garden Nursery. It's called Hoggard Grill. So we run courses, people come in, learn all the different techniques about barbecuing, make some fantastic food, and then hopefully have the confidence to go out and replicate that in their garden and wow their friends.
Yeah, I think maybe I need to sign up for that because I'm a little bit embarrassed at the minute that my wife actually is the barbecue queen. She does everything when it's barbecue
Oh,
day.
excellent. Yeah.
So
We've
I
got
think I
all
need
around
to,
the barbecue queens.
yeah, but I think I need to take that role of man behind the grill and get on
Yeah.
with it. So yeah, I think I might find myself booking into Hoggy's Grill then,
Awesome.
and see how we go. But Matthew, thank you so much for your time today and your insights. It's been absolutely fantastic having you.
No
And
worries.
hopefully it gives a few young seam bowlers that extra bit of advice and heading them in the right direction. So thank you so much.
No worries.